These are the key concepts to keep in mind. Be prepared to know your stuff. Have a formula to follow that will guide you through the conversations and conflict. Keep an open mind and take time to learn from the other party. Take the pressure off by reminding yourself that nothing has been officially decided until an agreement has been reached or a contract has been signed. Just keep talking and listening. You'll be all right. Conflict often isn't fun. Conflict sometimes makes us anxious. Sometimes we fear conflict, but the natural byproduct of open and honest communication is conflict. Sometimes conflict is simply a misunderstanding. And when we resolve conflicts, what we need to do is make sure that we rely on our negotiation skills. Now, the goal of negotiation is this: win at the negotiation and have the other party feel like they've won. Now, the best way to do that is to practice your maximum plausible position. Your maximum plausible position is asking more than you expect to get. Now, when you ask for more than you expect to get, you're going to have to ask not only for what you need, but what you want, and also what you would like and what you would love. And there's a big difference. So asking for more than you expect to get, your maximum plausible position, what you could say with a straight face, gives you a number of advantages. One is you might get it. The second is that it provides plenty of room for negotiation, so you can always compromise and then they'll feel like they've won. It prevents a deadlock because you have so much room in the negotiation to come to an agreement you're both willing to accept. The other part of this is that a deal always looks better if we throw some things out, and so we always want to make sure we ask for plenty. It also gives us room to protect our ego. It also helps to salvage the other party's ego so they can go back and say, you know what they were asking for originally, so this is what we came up with now. And it also gives room for them to feel like they've won. Nothing worse in a negotiation than when people walking away feel like they've been taken advantage of or they could have done better. Our goal is to help the other person feel like they have won. Over the years, we've been involved in thousands of conflicts and disagreements. And whether we are aware of it or not, we have developed a conflict resolution style. I find that many people don't know their own conflict style. In this presentation, people discover their conflict style and learn how to respond effectively to others' conflict resolution styles. I believe this makes problem solving and conflict resolution and negotiation less stressful and more fruitful. You know, we wouldn't have a job unless there were problems. We wouldn't really be open and honest in our communication unless we had some conflict. And when it comes to conflict, I think the key is to make sure we have a process. And the process I like the best is a simple formula to follow. So the formula I like the best is we first start off with supposition. Suppose it's this, suppose it's that, and we kind of brainstorm every possible problem, every possible issue, every circumstance, and we brainstorm everything we can think of that could be going wrong. Then we step back and we take a look at what's a fact. What do we know for sure? What's the scope? Is it an opinion? Is it an inference? But we really go through all of those ideas to try to figure out what the problem really is. So the third step is we restate the problem. So it isn't until we get to the third step that we really identify the problem that we're going to solve. Then what we do, of course, is some brainstorming, and I think we should come up with anywhere from 20 to 50 ideas of how to solve the problem. And then we need to have some sort of criteria that we're going to use to measure whether it's feasible, reasonable, or financially affordable. And once we do that, then we get to the next step, which is to implement the plan. We need to decide who's going to do what, when, and how, and carefully choreograph or describe those actions and the behaviors and, you know, that kind of the actions that people are going to take. Who's responsible for what? And then finally, we also need to include a timeline of when we're going to go back and review and evaluate the results. How was the process? How was the product? How did it turn out? And I think just knowing that we're going to meet again to review the results takes a lot of pressure off of coming up with that perfect solution to the problem. There's a great book entitled Everybody's Normal Till You Get to Know Them, written by John Ortberg. What I got out of the book was that on the surface, people get along pretty well. However, if we dig deeper, we find that we have different beliefs, attitudes, and values, and we start to recognize differences. I think it's the same way when it comes to conflict. We work in the same industry and we get along just fine. However, when there is a problem, we dig a little deeper and we find we are different. I think this can be a benefit if we handle conflict properly.